Good morning. I'm Sam Jaffee. First, we're going to start out with a little hypothetical exercise. Imagine you're a scientist. You're working in a research lab, and a pharmaceutical company that supports your lab comes up to you and is like, check out one of these pills we're doing. See if it has any bad side effects. Well, you do your experiments, a bunch of people, you find out, crap, there's a lot of side effects for this thing, and it could kill people. Well, you have two choices. Really two choices. You can either tell the company and lose your funding, because this is a big pill for them, they've invested millions, billions of dollars in it. You could lose your funding. Or you can kind of fudge your results a little bit, say the side effects aren't too bad, they aren't too common. Well, if you fudge your results, keep your job. But if you do that, you've just committed scientific fraud. Now, fraud is the crime of obtaining money, benefits, whatever, by deliberate deception. Scientific fraud is when a scientist doesn't fully report with full integrity, full honesty of their work. Now, the scientists have a long history of fraud. And you all know Galileo, Gregor Mendel. They both committed fraud. Galileo, a bunch of his experiments, there's no way he could have done as many trials to complete his experiments in the short time that he reported. Gregor Mendel, whenever we try to recreate his experiments, his numbers are just too perfect to be true. So that just indicates that, yes, there could be definite fraud there. Since fraud is actually, unfortunately, rather frequent in the sciences, you should be more aware of what motivates it. Not only, I mean, even if you aren't going into the sciences, some of these motivators probably affect you in your lives at some point in time, wherever you end up working. If you are in the sciences, yeah, you'll definitely feel some of these pressures. So today, I'm basically just going to briefly discuss what motivates scientists to commit scientific fraud. Of course, there are many motivators. First, and probably most foremost, scientists, they're human. We're all subject to different pressures in our lives, whether it's paying the bills, getting to work on time, whatever. So, one of these pressures, money. Science costs a lot of money. For example, one of my friends, he's going into biochemistry. He works in labs that take in money by the millions. If you work at a place like Harvard, you're talking about billions of dollars. There's pressure to produce results in order to justify your funding, keep your job, keep your research lab open, whatever. Personal example. Last summer, I worked on a project sponsored by the National Science Foundation. Government foundation gives away a lot of money for a lot of research. Now, my experiment did produce results, but when I was working on the statistics, I was thinking, oh crap, what happens if I don't produce any results? I've just wasted a bunch of money that could be going someplace else. Fortunately, I did produce results, but I felt that pressure. Next, status. In sciences, well, prizes only go to those who publish first. Even if you're the first one to discover something, if you don't publish it, no one knows about it. You aren't going to get any prizes. Best example, in about 50 years ago, Francis Crick, and his colleagues, quote unquote, discovered the structure of DNA. They won a Nobel Prize for it. Nobel Prize worth a lot of money and status beyond what you can imagine in the sciences. Well, they stole their work. They stole big portions of their work from a young lady who had previously discovered the structure of DNA about a couple months before, but she had never reported it, at least in nothing major. Last, confirmation bias. Now, the confirmation bias is defined by Elliot Aronson, a brilliant social psychologist, is the bias to believe anything that confirms your previously held beliefs. So, here's another example. Think about global warming. I don't care if you believe in it or not, but you see a report on global warming. Depending on if you believe it or not, you're going to be more apt or less apt to believe it. So if you're more apt to believe it, well, to believe in global warming, you're going to believe what this report says. If you don't, you won't believe it. This can affect scientists in the way that they may modify, change their data, change their theories to, support their previously held notions about how those experiments should come out. Now, hopefully with this brief understanding of fraud, you can prevent it. Even if you aren't in the sciences, you can understand what pressures you might face, increase your integrity. And you can also be more critical of any research you might see. It was Marcus Aurelius once said, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. Now we should all keep this in mind, scientists too. I mean, after all, if you aren't true, honest, what's the point in doing any work? Thank you very much. Y'all have any questions?